When the railway came to North Devon and our tourist industry began, when the holidaymakers started to come here, the people of Lynton and Lynmouth wanted the railway to go to their villages to take the holidaymakers there to make money. But the railway engineers said it was impossible to build a railway from Barnstaple to Lynton because of all the hills. But there was an engineer who lived in the village, and the engineer said he thought he could build a railway from Lynton to Barnstaple. And they were very, very lucky because there was a very rich man who lived in the village. The rich man said to the engineer, "Okay, here's lots of money, build a railway." They built a railway. It wasn't impossible, but it was very difficult. In some places they had to cut the hills, and in those days they didn't have big machines. It was men with pickaxes and shovels. Other places they had to build bridges over the valleys. It took them about 20 years, but eventually in the 1890s a little train started to work. It was small because in some places the train had to go up hills, and trains don't like going up hills. It was very narrow because in some places it had to go up one side of a valley and then down the other side. If you have a wide train, you need a big circle to turn. If you have a narrow train, it's much easier at the top of the little valleys. It was very slow, it was very bumpy, uncomfortable, but at least the tourists could now go to Lynton and Lynmouth. It worked for about 40 years, but in the 1930s some people had cars, a few people caught motor coaches, almost like this. And so they stopped using the little train, and so eventually the little train stopped working altogether. Today there are 3 stations, a few of the bridges, and the path through the hills where the railway used to go. And I'll show you some of these as we travel along. This used to be one of the stations for the little railway. Today, no railway, no trains, and they have changed the station into a pub and a restaurant. But they still keep the history in the name. They call it the Old Station House Inn. And as we go past, there's a big picture outside on the fence of the little train that used to come here 100 years ago. 2 pictures, one on the pole, one on the fence. There are many people who like old trains, the old steam trains, you know, old trains. And around England we have got quite a lot of the old trains which people have been able to save, and they still use them. Mostly for holidaymakers, tourists. And here in North Devon, there were some railway enthusiasts, some people who liked trains, who managed to collect some money, and they bought one of the old stations, the old railway station. And the farmer next to the station said to the people, okay, you can put down some railway lines where they used to go. They found some trains. They found some carriages in fields falling to pieces, and they've repaired them all, and now the little train works again, and it goes from the station 2 kilometres to nowhere, and from nowhere 2 kilometres back to the station again. But because the little train is so small, the holidaymakers love it. It's what we call a novelty. It's unusual. It's much smaller than our ordinary trains, and as we go along I'll try to show you. The railway line is just at the bottom of this first field. If you look to your left you can see the railway lines, the railway tracks, the rails. Soon we will come to the village, not the village, beg your pardon, the station, and if we don't see the train running we will see the train at the station. While we're up here, look to your left. There is the sea that was at Ilfracombe, and on the other side is Wales. This is the Bristol Channel, from the Atlantic Ocean up to the city of Bristol, 100 kilometres. In front of us you can see one of the little train carriages. You can see how small it is. And this is why the tourists, the holidaymakers, love it. The smoke coming out of the engine. And when we go past, there it goes, poof, poof, poof. When we go past, you'll see the little engine and more of these old carriages. They found these in a field, falling to pieces, and they have completely built again, mended these little carriages. Okay, look to your left now. You can see the little train engine, little train motor, and the little carriages. Very small. One of the little train engines they found in South America and brought it here. Wave to the driver. Okay, enough about all that.